Live, local, trusted. This is WKYT News.
Investigators continue their search for answers after a deadly plane crash outside of Washington, D.C.
Plus, targeting those who give. Scammers in Lexington may be impersonating your favorite charity.
And Big Blue Nation is getting ready for the return of its former coach. Fans and coaches are saying about John Calipari before tomorrow's game.
Live, local, trusted. This is WKYT News.
At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident.
From a search mission to a recovery effort, the latest details on the deadly plane crash in our nation's capital. Plus,
it's my community, it's people knowing that they've lost someone. That's incredibly difficult to watch.
The ripple effects of that crash felt here in Kentucky. We hear reactions from a passenger at Bluegrass Airport.
Live, local, trusted. This is WKYT News.
A court hearing that could change everything. Deputies accused killer plead guilty today. Plus, launching Green Dot, how the new program is meant to reduce violence on UK's campus. And from deep freeze to thawing out, the latest on the Kentucky county that went days without water because of burst pipes. But first, UK men's basketball is back in the win column. The Cats beat Tennessee last night on the road. Final score of that game, 78-73. The game was Tennessee's first home loss of the season. You know they hated to see that. Up next, the Cats take on Arkansas on Saturday. Thanks for joining us on Mid-Morning. I'm Victor Puente. Destiny is on assignment. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell is here, though. And Jim, you've been watching those temperatures warm up. Is the rain headed our way? Scott County deputy's family may just be hours away from a sense of closure. Stephen Shing-Shang is set to change his plea today for the death of Caleb Conley. We've been following that case since Conley's death in May of 2023. Since then, Shing-Shang has been moved from jail to jail. Police say at one point he was plotting an escape. Lucy Cole is live outside Scott County Courthouse, where Shing-Shang will appear virtually at today's hearing. Lucy, how do we get here?
Well, Victor, the tragic death of Deputy Conley back in the summer of 2023 definitely made an impact and is still making an impact here in Scott County. Recently, we just spoke to some people who live in the area that definitely say that they're still reflecting on that time just about a year and a half ago. And now, less than 4 hours from now, a potential guilty plea from Stephen Shing-Shang could be the end of a legal battle on this. Now, Stephen Shing-Shang is facing charges in Scott County and in Fayette County as well. He has pleaded not guilty up to this point. In Georgetown, he's accused of shooting a man near Rose and Jim's Bar and Grill and stealing a van. Police say he then went into Fayette County where he shot another man. We recently obtained some documents that gave a bit of insight on his behavior in the Bourbon County Detention Center, where he had been awaiting his trial over the past year and a half. In those, we learned about violent acts that they're accusing him of, like hitting people with a broom handle, busting a TV, and making holes in his cell wall. A nurse also reported hearing him speak of plans to make an escape, claiming he'd do that by overtaking a female deputy. Now, because of this, he's on male deputy contact only. Right now, he's in the Oldham County Detention Center. The change of plea could mean closure for the community. Here's what one lifelong Scott Countyan said about the potential guilty plea.
I just remember how awful it was that somebody would do that to a deputy, and it kind of cold-blooded. If he pleads guilty, good. If he is guilty, I'm sure, I believe he's guilty, so if he pleads guilty, it saves us some time and expense for putting him on trial.
And that hearing is going to be happening at 1:30 this afternoon. WKYT will have crews in the courtroom tracking all of this and giving you those recent updates as soon as we get those. So don't just stay with us this morning, stay with us throughout the rest of the day. But for now, live in Scott County, I'm Lucy Cole, WKYT.
Lucy, thank you. Coming up in a few minutes. Jim, thank you. This is a live look at the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., where a regional American Airlines passenger plane and a military chopper crashed overnight. That triggered a massive recovery effort, where crews believe there are no survivors among the roughly 67 passengers on board both of those vehicles. Officials there say they pulled at least 30 victims from the water. Natalie Brand is in Washington with what we know so far. That crash is having a ripple effect at airports across the country, including at Bluegrass Airport. 2 flights were scheduled to leave from Lexington this morning. They were both canceled. Amy Villela was supposed to be on one of those flights. She lives in Washington, D.C. in Kentucky. She was visiting family. She says she's nervous flying on the same type of American Airlines flight as the one that crashed. She says her community in D.C. is very concerned for her.
It's my community, it's people knowing that they've lost someone. That's incredibly difficult to watch.
Reagan International Airport is expected to resume flights at 11 o'clock this morning. We'll continue sharing updates on this story on air and on WKYT.com, or scan the QR code to download the WKYT News app. You can find more information and get news alerts sent right to your phone. Lexington's annual homeless survey is complete. Dozens of volunteers, including council members and the Fayette County attorney, participated in LexCount. Teams scoured the streets from 10 to midnight to find people experiencing homelessness and offer help.
Each year, it reminds us that we do have a tremendous amount of support in the work that we do and for the population that we're trying to serve.
Lexington's official count follows federal guidelines. Advocates host a separate count every year and includes people in places like hospitals and hotels. The Safer Kentucky Act put more eyes on homelessness. It makes street camping illegal. In one high-profile case, a Louisville officer cited a homeless woman while she was in labor. This week, a judge dismissed the case with prejudice, meaning those charges can't be brought again.
By Sunday. I'll break that down in more detail, and we'll venture around here at the Kentucky Sport Boat and Recreation Show coming up for you in just a few minutes.
A lot to see out there. Thanks, Jim. And another event Kentuckians will be attending this weekend at Central Bank Center is the Clash of the Coaches.
The Big Blue Nation is counting down to tomorrow night. The Wildcats are taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's also a match between head coach Mark Pope and the man he replaced last spring, Coach John Calipari. Lucy Cole is at Rupp Arena. Lucy, Coach Cal was a Wildcat for 15 seasons. Now are people getting ready for his return as a Razorback?
Well, fans are preparing by making a decision, and it's a decision we asked you to weigh in on as well. To cheer or not to cheer? That is the question. Former head coach John Calipari is going to walk right back in here to Rupp Arena tomorrow night, a walk he's taken many times before. But how's he going to be received by University of Kentucky fans? That's a question that's been on a lot of people's minds, and we will see that tomorrow night. Former coach John Calipari was with Kentucky for 15 seasons before announcing in April that he would be leaving Big Blue Nation. Then it was out with the old and in with the new as Kentucky welcomed Mark Pope, a former player at UK under Rick Pitino who won a national title back in 1996. Seeing these two coaches go head-to-head is just over 24 hours from now, and the highly sought-after event could cost you a pretty penny if you do want to attend. The lowest ticket price that we are currently seeing is nearing $200, with lower bowl tickets sitting at around $350 or more per ticket. If you have scored a ticket, former UK coach Rick Pitino is asking you to welcome former coach Calipari warmly. He shared a video saying when he came back to Rupp Arena for the first time after leaving to go to Louisville, it was the toughest day in his coaching career.
I want all of you to show the great class that you have. 23,000 plus people giving him a huge standing ovation. Show him what respect and admiration's all about.
Now, the ball is in your court, literally, based on how you are going to respond to this. WKYT made a poll asking fans if they would applaud or boo Coach Calipari when he walked back into Rupp. Now, we've got that poll for you right now. It says about 70% of people said that they were going to applaud, and then about 30% of people said that they were going to boo. But that could all change with circumstance, and that's something that we're going to be seeing tomorrow night. But for now, at Rupp Arena, I'm Lucy Cole, WKYT.
This season, 3 of Kentucky's 5 losses have been against SEC teams. They've also had some big wins in conference play, including over Tennessee this week. The Cats are averaging 85 points per game in SEC games. Meanwhile, Arkansas is averaging just over 64 points in conference games. The Razorbacks are 1-6 against the SEC. They had a 5-game losing streak earlier this month. The conference proved to be pretty unpredictable this year. We'll be getting you ready for tip-off with a special all-blue preview. That'll be tomorrow night at 7 here on WKYT.
Kentucky women's basketball defended its home court last night. The Cats beat number 22 Alabama. It was UK's second lowest scoring game since conference play started. The final score 65-56. On Sunday, the Cats play number 13 Oklahoma on the road. Tip-off is at 4.
Kentucky is back in the lead in the Big Blue Slam blood drive battle. Kentucky has 1,025 points at the end of day 4. Florida had 1,016. Today is the last day to donate. You can make an appointment at kybloodcenter.org.
Yeah, so while some of those main roads are in really good shape or better shape, it's those side roads that can really be dangerous. So the question is, how does Lexington determine which streets to plow first? And as you can see here, first of all, this is some real tracking time of where some of those plows are out there. And with more than 1,100 miles of lanes, that is a really big task. So the city has a ranking system. It's right here. Crews start with rank 1 streets. Those are those primary arteries in and out of the city, like Main Street, Nicholasville Road, Richmond Road. Those include fire stations, hospitals, and the police department. They're all in that category. Then comes those rank 2 areas. Those are major connectors like Red Mile Road and Loudon Avenue, plus roads to grocery stores and some of those service stations, gas stations. Then comes rank 3. Those are what are called collector streets, ones that feed those residential areas into major roads. And then we have rank 4. Rank 4 is local streets within those residential areas, so your neighborhoods, but it's not all. The city says that it will address the remaining residential streets as time permits and weather conditions warrant. So I know a lot of those side streets in your neighborhood may still be pretty bumpy to travel on, but be patient because those crews are out there working really hard right now trying to get all of those main streets cleared.
And obviously some hire private contractors to assist as well, especially with apartment complexes and so on. Dozens of schools were closed today because of the winter storm. Fayette County schools will have a traditional snow day tomorrow as well. Many other districts will be closed or using an NTI day. You can find a full list of the closings on our WKYT News app. You can also find them always on our closing page at WKYT.com. All right, Chris, thank you. Kentuckians are finding some ways to enjoy the snow out there. Some Lexington police officers got to join in on some snow day fun. Before their shift started yesterday, they saw some people sledding near Veterans Park Elementary School, so they decided to join right in.
Kids again there. All right, we know that kiddos are loving the snow, but so are some dogs. This video comes from one of our former reporters, Chad Hedrick, here in Lexington. This is his sister dog, Hattie Joe in Ashland, playing in the snow for the very first time.
Acts just like Chad.
Yeah, it does. Just runs around kind of crazy.
Right. And if you're looking for a way to measure the snow, you know what? Just go L8 on you. The company posted a how-to guide on social media. Snow that reaches the bottom of the label is about 1 inch. Top of the bottle, you're talking about 8 inches. This was closer to the top end than the lower end as we did that here at the station. Now, granted, this was after the freezing rain and hit the snow and compacted it a little bit.
Yeah, our producer Amy was out there yesterday.
She was out there, and I suspect had we measured when the event before we flipped to freezing rain, you would have seen the bottle cap maybe the only thing showing on that.
Lucky she didn't break the bottle.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Well, coming up on WKYT News, how crews are working to restore power in the darkest parts of the state right now.